First of all, this is completely wrong that was an act of revenge. On contrary, this is a symbol of weakness. And the very high price Ukraine paid especially during the last 3 days. This night, Ukraine capital Kiev spanned without electricity. 30% of the electrical system of Ukraine were affected, but definitely we will renew it within very short period of time. Point number two, this is not just a Russian attack. The hundreds of missiles which was launched against Ukraine during the last 3 days, including the drones, this is the results of responsibility of Russia, Belarus, from the territory of which we have launched drones and missiles, and Iran, who supplied this long-range drone who killing Ukrainians.
But you can see what Vladimir Putin's tactics are going to be, targeting energy supplies as you head into winter. He is clearly going to try to make this unbearable for all of you.
We know these plans. The only thing is that we wait in this attack at the end of November. And definitely Putin prepare for this attack for November. But he want to accelerate that, taking into account the absolutely bad situation for Russia on the east of Ukraine, on the south of Ukraine, and on the northeast of Ukraine. And that was not only the attack on Ukraine, that was a message for the Russians. But if you compare the situation in Ukraine, we don't have a panic. All Ukrainians are united, and our armed forces provide the offensive operation.
Well, let me ask you about the armed forces, because you were helping set up the Ukraine armed forces back in 2014. Tell me honestly, have you been surprised how well they have performed on the battlefield, how poorly the Russian troops have performed?
Look, I was absolutely confident with the effectiveness of the armed forces of Ukraine, which you are absolutely right to say that as a Supreme Commander-in-Chief, I create based on the NATO standard. But not everybody in Europe, in NATO, or even in US, believe in the effectiveness of Ukrainian armed forces. The only difference was that the Putin planned to grab Ukraine within 36 hours, and some of the NATO officers give us 96 hours. But we demonstrate that we surprise Putin positively, and we surprise the world.
Well, we're into the 8th month now of this war. We saw those missile strikes over the last 3 days. The Germans, the Americans have promised more sophisticated air defences. How quickly do they need to be in Ukraine? What is the window that you are talking about?
First of all, we have a war not 8 months, but 8 years. And this is why our armed forces were so well prepared, have the combat experience. And this is very positive things based on the yesterday G7 decision, today NATO ministerial meeting, and today meeting in Ramstein, that we have accelerated the supply of the anti-aircraft missiles. You should understand that this is absolutely different type of war which has never happened in the mankind history. This is the war of drones, the war of missiles, the war of long-range, high-accuracy artillery, and this is extremely important to have as fast as possible today or tomorrow. And I know that we have already some anti-aircraft and anti-missile weapon system is already on the Polish border.
Yep.
And that's why this is the strong message to Russians. Don't try to attack Ukraine anymore.